IT is pretty pervasive. It's in everything, and we do think of banks, we do think of financial institutions as having that sort of technology element and data element, but really it runs through every business. It may be tracking financials, it may be tracking volumes, it may be tracking stuff going through pipelines, it might be tracking carbon emissions. All of those things are technology enabled.
A good example would be one of our clients who has a system which is linked to GPS mapping. They program in this big fertilizer spreader, and it can go around the field and puts down not only the right quantity of fertilizer but the right blends of fertilizer in the field, and then they can track this over time. IT is having a big impact in environmental health and safety. One of our clients is a uranium producer. IT provides systems that help them track all the exposure to various doses of uranium and radiation and make sure people are kept safe. And that is all enabled by some sort of IT system in the back end, which means somebody has to manage it and somebody has to understand the cost and the business value of it.
Really with the intention of getting the best value out of IT. That's what we do. The question arises, how can you reduce the cost of IT, how can you use IT to reduce the cost in other parts of the business?
And there's a direct correlation between complexity and cost. The more complex your organization and your IT environment, the more cost you're going to have, the more people you need to support it, the more areas there are for things to break.
When you take out complexity, it does a couple of things. First off, you might actually stop paying some licenses for software, for example, or maybe free up some capacity in a data center. What you might do is enable yourself better for the future, such that when you need to build on new pieces, they fit in really nicely because you've thought about the structure and architecture of what it is that you have as an IT capability. Well, in the Alberta market, a lot of the companies have been hit by the low price of oil. So that's led into a mentality of cost control, and that's completely understandable. I think smart businesses in managing through this downturn are going to look at what are the opportunities they can take now in this relatively quiet period to get their IT house in order.
A lot of complexity has crept into organizations. They haven't pared down their systems and said, can we really exploit this application to its fullest extent? It's a good time to look at your skills inside the organization, retrain your people, start managing IT as a business.
It's expensive to spend money on technology and technology-related services, but it may be cheaper than the alternative. If we can transport information, if we can automate processes, if we can use our people more effectively through the use of technology, that's where I think technology plays in managing this downturn. So one of the things that our clients can do is look at the portfolio of projects that they have in the hopper, all those candidate smart ideas that somebody came up with, and figure out which are the smart projects we can pick to help us get through that cost challenge. There's a real range out there in terms of how IT is used, and when we walk into a client, what we bring is we bring past experience, we bring best practice, we bring the ability to connect those IT stakeholders and the business stakeholders together.
It's just to get to the root causes that's the key. That is different for every organization. What drives the costs in IT is not the same in every organization. You have to be careful of that. So one of the things we've done in our group is we've very consciously gone out into industry in our hiring practice, and we look for people who have very strong operational experience. We have ex-CIOs in our group, we have strong ex-directors and managers, we have people who have run complex projects and programs in industry. I think we are uniquely positioned. We really understand what the client's going through.
We bring a perspective which is about operational effectiveness, about finance effectiveness. We have a sustainability group. We're not just technologists. And that, I think, is a power that PwC brings. It's not just this one-dimensional view.